Hello, civil engineers. Welcome back to the lecture. So, in this lecture, let me clear few of your doubts. So, whatever I have taught you so far in the putting BBS, you may have few doubts like when we should consider the bend deduction, when we should not consider the bend deduction. Then, in few of the cases, I told you this depth, whatever you are supposed to take, you have to take 2/3 of the depth, right? Here, if you remember, we are taken 2/3. In some of the cases, I told if it is not required, not to be taken. Now, when do you use such cases? I'll give you complete information here. See, whatever I told you right now, everything depends on the, I'll write it here. Okay. Yeah. So whatever I told you, everything depends on the type of project that you're working for. Okay. We'll make it. Yeah. So TY type of project. Okay. That's the first thing. Second thing, it depends on the client. Second thing, it depends on the client. Okay. Client and let us say contractor. Okay. Client and contractor. So client and contractor. Hmm. So again, it depends on the way you for which company you're working, which company you are working, and what they follow and what they follow. Okay, these are the three things which depends on that. Now I'll give you one by one cases. So let us say you're working in one company. Let us say this is company number one. Okay, and what they follow is they follow the bend deduction. Bend deduction. They say we have to consider the bend deduction plus whatever this L you're taking, you have to take it completely. Okay. Second plus L completely. I'll write L completely. Got it? So this is the first thing. So in that case, what you do, what is the reason? First is you have to consider the bend detection, and the L, whatever you're taking, you have to take it completely. So this is what that particular company follows. So if that is the case, nothing. Come to Excel sheet. Okay. Bend deduction, anyhow I applied the bend deduction. Here you can see the bend deduction minus 4 times I have applied it. This depth whatever you have taken, no, they are telling to take it complete depth. That means instead of multiplying this by 2/3, that means whatever answer you are getting, that is overall depth minus top cover minus bottom cover, and whatever answer we got, we used to say 2/3 of that, because that is a general construction practice what we do. Now in your company, if they say you don't have to take like that, you take complete height minus the top cover minus the bottom cover, this is what we are following, then you're supposed to follow that. In that case, you just remove this 2/3 from there. Finish. Automatically, your answer will be 300, 300, and automatically you see this also has changed. So in the Excel sheet, you see here, initially it was 8.11, the weight of the steel, and cutting length was 13.14. The moment I change that, okay, just remove that. Finish. It came to 9.22 and it came to 14.940. Got it? This is case number one. If your company is following this, or if your manager has told you that this is what we are following in a company, then you follow this. No harm in that. Okay, first thing. Now we'll go to the case number two. So again, coming to the case number two. So the case number two is, let us say, in your company, they told no need of bend deduction, no need of bend deduction. Okay, you don't have to apply the bend deduction. Okay, and also you can, whatever L you are taking, you can take 2/3 of the L. That means whatever L we got, for that again you take 2/3. 2/3 means 67%. 2/3 L. I'll write in this way. Okay, 2/3 L. Right? This is another company. Let us say this is another company where you are working, or maybe that particular company is following this particular method or this particular bar bending schedule. No problem. Then what you do? You follow the same thing. Come here. What we are supposed to do? We are supposed to not apply the bend detection, and we can take the depth up to 2/3. So in that case, simple. Come here. So wherever you have applied the bend detection, that is -4 into, you delete this part. Bend detection is not required. So criteria number one is satisfied, right? Is satisfied. Finish. Second, this thing you say you apply 2/3 the depth. So 2/3. Okay. 2 by 3 if you do, it will be 200. Accordingly, you see your cutting length will be this time 13.5 and 8.33, 8.33. Previously, if it was something 9, so hardly there is any difference now. So we have taken two cases. One case where the bend direction has to be applied, and also you don't have to take complete 2/3. Here, no bend deduction, but you have to take 2/3. Okay. In this way, there may be another company which says that, like we did previously, you don't have to apply bend deduction, and you don't have to take the complete two-third depth. Accordingly, you can work out, okay, based on the companies, that is what they follow, right? So I have seen people taking, but most of the construction practice, what they do is they apply two-third, because this L, what, for example, let us say if this is my footing, okay, I'll explain you here. Let us say if this is my footing, okay, let us say if this is my footing, hmm, and whatever L you are putting, right, this top will be like this. It will come in this way. I'll go with only bottom reinforcement, no need of top. Okay, this is bottom. This much it will come. Okay, only up to this much length it is enough. Okay, because that itself is your development length. From here, if there is a column here, if this is your column, okay, so your development length starts from the outer face of the column. From here, your development length starts. Okay, okay, got it. That is a concept what we apply. Now, if the depth of the footing, is, let us say 500 mm, usually let us say if it is 600 mm, okay, 600 mm. So if I want to find this L, if I want to find this L, if I want to find this L, so what would be the formula? Usual formula what we use to apply? We say overall depth minus, from the top we'll take out the 50 mm depth cover, and from bottom minus 50 mm. So it will be 500 mm. So that means this particular L, whatever you have taken, no, it will be 500. So 500 means roughly it will come up to here. Your 500 may come up to somewhere here. 500 will come somewhere here. So usually practically it's not required. 500 means if it is 600, 500 will come somewhere here, right? So practically that much length is not required, because actually it's a wastage of steel also. So that is why few of the client, what they say, you take two-third of the depth. Whatever answer you are getting, no, here, this answer we got, no, you take two-third of that. That is why I made you people to take two-third. That means 500 is correct. For this we apply two-third. Okay, usually we say 67, two-third is 67%, right? 67% only will give the L. So if I do this, how much it will be roughly? So 500 into 0 0.67, 335, or 500 into, yeah, 2 divided by 3. Yeah, it will be 333 mm. Okay, so then practically what we do, we try to keep this 330. So if it is 330, then obviously, if it is 330, then obviously this much will be, this part will be up, coming up to here. So this will be 333 mm. You're getting my point? And this also will be 333 mm. Got it? So this is usually what we follow. But there are few people who say, no problem, you don't have to take two-third, you take completely. In that case, you do according to that. Now the question is, let us say there are two people. One person is, the person one is applying this two-third rule. I'll write this as two-third rule. And there is another person who is not applying two-third rule. Then who is correct? Who is correct? Because when you're applying two-third rule, when you're applying the two-third rule, let us say your cutting length of the bar is coming, let us say 14 meter. I'm taking random. Okay. And when you're not applying, obviously the length will increase. It will come to 17 meter. So obviously, if it is coming 14 meter, then let us say the steel, considering the unit weight of a steel and all, let us say I'm taking some random value. It will come 100 rupees. Okay, let us consider 100 rupees or $100. Let us consider $100. Okay, I'll write $100. Okay, rough value I'm taking just to make you understand. Now here, since it is 17 meter, obviously the rate will increase. Let us say this is 150 rupees, or let us say this is $150, right? So both there is variation in the price, then whom you are going to consider. So usually this thing has to be decided initially only. Before the start of the project, you have to decide whether you are taking it or not. Okay. Now on the site, this is, everything is on the paper. I can do anything on the paper. This is Excel sheet I can do. But when you do the real execution on the site, for example, let us say on the, in the paper, in the Excel sheet you are done, you have to take two-third of the depth. Okay. But on the site, if these people do, completely, then what you should do in the billing, when you do the billing means this is just an estimate. When the actual work is over, for example, this work is over, okay, let us say today you did 5 footings of similar sizes, then you have to do the billing, no, how much cost has gone into that. When you do the billing, in that case what we'll do, we'll see exactly what has happened on the site. Okay, that is how it is. So few people, what they do, few contractors and all, they say that we'll take complete depth. Few people, what, in order to save the money and all, what they do, they say we'll take complete height. That means this L whatever we are putting, no, we'll take overall depth minus top cover and minus bottom cover. Let us say if your depth is 500 mm, okay, let us say if your depth is 500 mm, so if applying that rule, 500 minus top cover 50 minus bottom cover 50, how much it will be? 400 mm. Okay, okay, so practically this length also should be 400 mm, this L should be 400 mm on the side. Okay, but what few people do, few people, what contractor do, they show 400 mm here, but when they do the real execution, they won't give 400. What they do, they say, what few people do, instead of that, they say 500 minus 50 minus 50 minus 50, and then they apply the two-third. They apply the two-third. Okay, into, you are getting my point? They apply two-third rule again. So how much it comes out to be? We found it to be 333 mm. So what they do, they are telling that in the paper they have shown that we'll take 400, but in real site execution they have taken only 333. That means roughly 67 mm of steel he has saved. This side 67, this side 67. I'm just speaking of one rebar. Imagine how many bars will come. Imagine how many footings will come. In that case, they can save a lot of money. So that is why whenever you're doing a billing and all, you have to go and check the site, what the contractor has done. Okay, there are people, those who show something here, they say we'll do according to this 400 only, but on the site what has happened, these people have not given 400, they have taken two-third and given 333, 333. Whatever amount he has saved, that is a profit for him. Getting my point? So that is why, so BBS completely depends on the site conditions. If you are following the same thing, follow the same thing on the site. If you're not following the two-third, if you want to take the complete depth, top cover, minus cover, do that. And same thing has to be executed on the site. You have to keep the L similar to that. If you're not doing that, then you take a two-third rule. Whatever answer you get, same should be the L on the site. Okay, because finally, whatever you do on the site, that itself will be paid to the contractor. Okay, all your doubts are solved. Now you don't have any problem. You can go with that. So ask your, if you're working in any companies, ask your project manager or ask your site manager, like what we're supposed to do. So if the site manager says that no, we are following a two-third rule where the overall depth minus top cover, bottom cover, and two-third we do, you follow that and make sure the same has gone into the billing, because usually the billing engineer will take care of that. But you being a site engineer, you have to make sure, because ultimately the billing engineer will ask you, the site engineer, like what has been done on the site. Okay, so that is why you have to understand all this concept. So I have explained everything. Two-third rule, not applying the two-third rule, and even the same thing applies for the bend deduction also. Now, few people say that we don't do bend deduction, and later when they come for the billing and all, they apply the bend deduction. Okay, that is 90 degree, 90 degree minus 40 we are supposed to do. Few people don't do. If they don't do, you don't, they don't claim it in the billing. If you do, you claim it in the billing. Okay, getting my point? So that is what I wanted to tell. And I think with this class, all your doubts, whatever you have, is everything solved. So finally, whatever you follow on your site, you do that. Okay, now you may ask, sir, I'm running my own consultancy, or I don't have anyone to ask, then what I do? So what I say is, you apply the two-third rule, which is the right practice to be done, because that much L is actually not required. Okay, because if the footing is only 300 mm depth, it's okay. Imagine an isolated footing having a 600 mm depth. In that case, you're just giving 500 mm L. So 500 on left side, 500 on the right side is 1 meter. So roughly you're wasting a lot of steel. So the simple procedure, you apply the two-third rule. Bend deduction, you don't have to do that. And if you want to do, you do it simple. Apply the two-third rule and don't do the bend deduction. This is what I say. But if your company follows that, you follow according to the bend deduction rule and you apply the two-third rule. It's completely up to you. Got it? Great. So I hope you have enjoyed my lecture up to here, and I've given you a complete idea regarding this bend deduction part and all. And similarly, based on that, what has happened, based on that, I have prepared the Excel sheet and I've explained you how it has to be done. Okay, now if you want to change anything, you can change here. Ultimately answer also will change. For example, what I can change is let me change only one small thing. Okay, otherwise my Excel sheet will change completely. Here I'll just take it out, this bend deduction, I'll take it out here, and here also I'll take it out, and you see what is the variation which has happened here. So small variation, and final value also variation will happen. Okay, now okay, see, you see no much variation has happened. I'll show you 1 second. See, now answer is how much? 966.236. Okay, it is 966.236 is the answer what I have. And if I don't apply the bend deduction, what will happen? I'll take it out, and this also I'll take it out. Yeah. So what has changed? Nothing has changed. Nothing much has changed. Hardly anything has changed. See, initially it was 966.236. Now it has changed to 681. Hardly how much mm? 0.4. 0.4 has changed. That's it. Okay. Not a big change has happened. Even if you put a cost also, nothing will change here. Getting my point? So based on the requirement, you can do that. Okay. Great. I did for one. You can do it for, you can prepare same Excel sheet. You just copy the same Excel sheet. Okay. Say more copy and create a same Excel sheet. And in that, you don't do the bend deduction. In one, you do the bend deduction. Okay. You can prepare two Excel sheets and you can compare the value. That also can be done. Just in case if you want to see how much variation will happen, you can do that. Okay. Great. So that's it. So I'll get it back. Yeah. Fine. So we'll see you back in the next lecture. Thank you.